Hey guys, welcome to MLB the Show 18. Here is a very good starting slider set for you to begin with.
Baseball. It is said it's just a game. True. And the Grand Canyon's just a hole in Arizona.
Here's a ground ball right side, could do it. The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Don't tell me about the world. Not today. It's springtime, and they're knocking baseballs around fields, and kids are trying to hit curveballs.
Bottom of the 8th. 2 men on, 2 men out. Down by 2. The crowd is on its feet. The pitcher comes set and fires.
Second, going to be a play, and he is out. No. Are you kidding me? It can only happen in the wild card game. Down the line it goes. Here comes Jackson. The Indians win it. Here it comes. He struck him out. Taylor ties it. Oh, what a finish. 2 and a 3
They ask me what I do in winter when there is no baseball. I'll tell you what I do. I stare out the window and wait for spring.
Hey guys, come on downstairs. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of my strategies for realistic slider sets, as well as give you a pretty good starting point. Obviously, everybody's different, so everybody's slider set will be different based on your abilities. But this is from a franchise that I started back in MLB the Show 16 and carried it through MLB the Show 17. That transition from 16 to 17 actually was a pretty good transition slider set wise. So I'm going to go ahead and show you mine from 17 to 18, and it might give you a good starting point. Let's start out with batting and base running settings. Hitting difficulty, dynamic. Hitting interface, I do pure analog with the flick analog type. Hitting view, I actually like wide. Gives me a good view of the defense. When I am hitting, the in-play offense, dynamic, ball trail off, and guess pitch off. You'll notice as I go through these settings, I like to eliminate all of the clutter on my screen to make it look more like a baseball game on TV. So anything I can do to get the clutter off my screen, I do it. Sliding decisions, assist, runner windows on, obviously. You've got to be able to see your runners. Let's go ahead and look at pitching. Pitching difficulty is dynamic. Pitching interface, I like pulse. Again, it's minimizing the stuff on my screen. Pulse meter display default, pitch feedback off, and I just barely turn that off. I'm going to try it now with it off. Just another thing to eliminate. Pitching view broadcast, pitching ball marker classic fade. It'll give me a good shot at where I'm trying to throw my pitch at first, and then it will fade off. Pitch confidence on, you've got to have that on for realism. Pitch delay normal and API off. I do not like the catcher calling my pitches. I like to call pitches myself. So that is my pitching settings. We'll do sliders after we get through these settings, but I want to show you the settings that I play on, which help make the game feel realistic to me. Fielding, throwing interface, buttons, throw meter on, throwing difficulty all-star. I don't know how much of a difference that makes with the throwing interface buttons. I like errors to be more based on player ability rather than my ability. Fielding decision, assist, throwing decision off. In-play view defense, I like medium. Throw canceling, I like on. And one button dive jump, I have off. I have considered turning that on because I have a hard time remembering the button to jump on line drives over the infielder's head. Catch position indicator on. Let's go move on to general now. I like the strike zone off. I like the hot zones off. Again, it's eliminating clutter on the screen. Warm-up relievers on. Dynamic difficulty updates. I like to get an update at the start of the game where I'm at. Throughout the game, I don't want to be bothered with it. So those are my general settings for my franchise. Advanced, scorebar display on, pitch select display on, swing pitch info on, box on. Actually, I'm going to turn the swing pitch info off now just to eliminate another thing on my screen. And I've played this game long enough that I pretty much know whether I'm late or behind or missed it up or down. So let's move on now to our presentation mode. I like hybrid, batter walk-up on, in-game ticker on, closed captioning off, mode updates on. I like to see scores from around my league. And I'm turning MLB.com updates off because I don't want to see scores of real Major League games that I might watch later on in the day or whatever. Audio, video settings. Game resolution balanced. It's smoother that way and still high quality. Audio output surround. Volume presets. I like to go with on the field. I don't like to have the commentary on. I enjoy the commentary. They do a pretty good job at it. But I like to have it off because I am taking clips of the game and then doing my own commentary over them, and I don't want to have to compete with Matt Vasgersian and D-Row and everybody else that way. So, mode specific. Critical situations, I have them turned on right now. You can have them on or off, whatever you like. I don't ever simulate games. I play all 162, so it really doesn't matter whether I have them off or on. It's not going to affect me. And then literally every other option in this mode specific menu I turn to manual because I want to take charge of my organization from top to bottom and manage every facet of it. So I literally make every one of them manual in the mode specific options. And now let's go ahead and take a look at our sliders. So the slider settings are on a bar that goes across the screen, and the very top, like far right, is 10 notches, and the very far left is 0 notches. Now, dynamic difficulty sensitivity, this is one where when I'm just transferring my thing in from MLB the Show 17, I'm going to turn it up so it will make some adjustments really fast and put me in, whether it's easy or too hard or whatever, it'll make adjustments fast. And then, in my case, it's been a little bit too easy, so turn that down as the game gets more to where you feel it's realistic. So, as you're just starting this slider set, leave that high, and then as you start to feel like the game's feeling more realistic to you, start to turn that down so that the dynamic difficulty sensitivity will not change as much. Human contact, I am putting that at 4. To start out with. Human power is also at 4, and that's 4 from the left, so 5 being the dead middle and far right being 10, so put that on 4. Human timing is at 5, human foul frequency is at 4, human solid hits is at 5, human starter stamina 5, human reliever stamina 5, human pitcher control is at 4, human pitcher consistency is at 3, CPU contact is at 6, CPU power is at 5, and let's just make sure that was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, CPU contact is at 6, CPU power is at 5, CPU timing is at 3, I believe. 1, 2, 3, yes, CPU timing is at 3. Foul frequency is also at 3 for the CPU. CPU solid hits is at 2, and as you'll see later on in this video, actually CPU solid hits is at 3, and you'll see later on in the video I will change it again and I'll show you why later. CPU starter stamina is at 5, CPU reliever stamina is at 5, CPU pitcher control is at 2, And CPU pitcher consistency is also at 2. CPU strike frequency is at 3. CPU manager hook is at 4. CPU pickoffs is at 3. Fastball pitch speed I'm going to turn up 1 to 5 or 6. We'll turn it up to 6. Off-speed pitch we'll leave it at 5. Fielding errors on the infield we'll leave at 5. Fielding errors outfield we'll leave at 5. And throwing errors on the infield will go to 6. Throwing errors outfield to 6. Fielder running speed at 5. Fielder reaction speed at 3. Fielder arm strength infield at 5. Arm strength outfield at 5. Base runner speed at 5. Base runner still ability at 5. Base runner still frequency at 5, and then wind effect at 5. And injury frequency is at 6, and I'm putting trade frequency to 7. All right, so now this is the strategy for adjusting. If you look at this, right now my Minnesota Twins team after 1 month of the season is first in baseball in batting average, batting .291. And if you look on the standings screen, you'll see that my team should be 18th in contact, and where they're first, that's a little too high. I try to be, so I'm going to go into human contact here and move it. So I try to be, see those numbers, how it's 18th in contact? I try to be plus or minus within 7 of those to give some variability, but also to keep it realistic. So my pitching was a little bit too high at 7, so I adjusted the CPU solid contact. My power was at 19th, so it's within plus or minus 7. My defense was at 22nd, so it was within plus or minus 7. And my stolen base percentage was at 29th, and it was within plus or minus 7. So that's my strategy for changing my sliders as I go throughout the season. So that's the way I do it. If you want to start from those settings and then continue your franchise, I guarantee you it will give you realistic results after your dynamic difficulty settles in to where your skill level is at. So anyway, follow my Minnesota Twins franchise on Mama's Basement. We are in year number 3. It's a slow moving franchise with lots of detail, and we'll do it throughout the summer, hopefully get into year 4 at some point in the summer. But right now we are in year 3, starting just the second month, and it is a good one to follow. So like, subscribe, enjoy MLB the Show 18, everybody, and play it realistically and do the game of baseball justice.